the other side there. We're gonna have a fun segment for you guys today. We're gonna do an NFL mock draft with less than a month away till the actual NFL draft. I think it's time to do our first annual mock draft this year, where we just make picks. We alternate turns on making the picks for each team in the first round. And without further ado, let's get started. So the first pick, to no one's surprise, if we're being honest, because of how bad they played this season, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags, they need defensive linemen, they need a linebacker, they need a safety. Those are the three most needed positions at this point. It was going to be offensive linemen, but because of the fact that they franchise tagged Cam Robinson, they felt they didn't need another offensive lineman, despite the fact that they were mocked to get Evan Neal towards the start of free agency. So, to no one's surprise, I think the first pick for the Jaguars is going to be Aiden Hutchinson, the edge rusher from Michigan. Look, he had a great season this past year at Michigan, including that game against Ohio State. So, honestly, even though Kayvon Thibodeau is still on the board, I feel like Hutchinson has a better chance for going number one. So I'm going to go with number one, Aiden Hutchinson, the 21-year-old, 6'6", 265 senior, goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Case,
All
you're up
right.
next for number two.
So for number two, my same number one pick was Aiden Hutchinson as well. So good pick there. Number two, Detroit is going to go with Kayvon Thibodeau, the defensive end from Oregon. So there's a lot of talk about the Lions going up and picking Malik Willis. But to be honest with you, I think that Jared Goff deserves at least 1 or 2 more years to see whether or not he can do anything with the Lions. Last year or this year was really, really, really terrible for the Lions, of course. But I don't think it's necessarily time to move on to a new quarterback. So that being said, Lions take Kayvon Thibodeau, defensive end from Oregon. Great player. A lot of people said that he would be first overall, but Aiden Hutchinson, of course, also very explosive. And so that's my second pick for the Lions.
Definitely. I have a question for you, Case. Would you have considered maybe Kyle Hamilton for the Lions at number two, or is Kayvon Thibodeau was like the one guy you thought Detroit was going to get and no one else?
I mean, you could argue as Kyle Hamilton. A lot of people say Kyle Hamilton is, the best player on defense in terms of the safety position. But Kayvon Thibodeau is literally, he can do basically anything on the D line. And with the Lions needing help there, of course, the Lions have, they have a few players in secondary that can do stuff. So I think that they need pressure on the quarterback. That's where they need help the most, I think. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, you could take Kyle Hamilton, but in this case, I just think that you really need to help out your D line.
100%. All right. We're going to go with number three now, the Houston Texans. It's funny because as we're looking at this, we're doing the mock draft on Pro Football Focus. And Case, if you see it for the Texans, their needs are at every single position, which goes to show that their team is they need a lot of help. Yeah. And there's still some quality players on the board. Houston not only has this pick right now, but they also have pick number 13 in the first round. So with needs at every position. With the number 3 pick, the Houston Texans, in my opinion, will select Kyle Hamilton. Look, you need help in the secondary. Kyle Hamilton is kind of a unicorn at the safety position. He can do it all. Maybe you can put him at corner at times. As I'm looking at it right now, he's 21 years old. He's a junior, 6'4". He's a 4-star recruit coming out of high school and played for Notre Dame for 3 years. So even though he had an injury, though, that does kind of concern me a little. He should be healthy, should be fine. And the Houston Texans, like we just said, Case, they need a lot of help. And he had a Pro Football Focus rate of 76.1, which is great. And if the Giants needed help in the secondary, I feel like we could get Kyle Hamilton, or we could use, I shouldn't say, Hamilton. But in this case, I'm going to go Hamilton to the Texans. And later on in the draft, they can address a different position. But as we go to number 4, Case, the New York Jets are on the board.
So at number 4, the Jets are going to take cornerback Ahmad Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. So the Jets, if you look, they need wide receiver help, they need linebacker help, and they need a cornerback help. And so the best corner in the draft, in my opinion, is Ahmad Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati. He talks his game, talks a lot of trash, and can back it up on the field. He didn't allow any touchdowns this year for Cincinnati, which is outstanding. But if it's not a cornerback, I definitely see that the Jets getting, a wide receiver. Maybe they get Drake London, but in my opinion, I think Drake London will fall later in the rounds because of that injury. I think that will scare away a lot of people, unfortunately, but that is true. So in this case, I think that the Jets go defense and take Ahmad Gardner from Cincinnati.
All right, which sets things up for my New York Giants. Whoo, number 5. We got number 5, number 7 in this year's draft. And with our scenario case, it works out perfectly for the Giants. Even though I'm a little bit devastated, the Giants couldn't get Kayvon Thibodeaux. You know how much I love him. I wish you know me.
You'll get Sam Howell though. That's good.
No, we. But with the number 5 pick, the Giants will select Evan Neal, the offensive tackle from the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. 6'7", 350, 21 years old as well. He had a Pro Football Focus grade of 85.8, which is beyond excellent. Only allowed 2 sacks this past season. Also, he had 0 pressures allowed on 58 snaps versus Texas A&M, which is outstanding. Look, Daniel Jones, as of right now, is the quarterback for the Giants. If not him, it's going to be Tyrod Taylor, who the Giants signed recently as a backup. And look, you need protection. It was Andrew Thomas last year at left tackle and pretty much a bunch of nobodies, if you're being honest. And if you get Evan Neal, you get protection not just for Jones, but for Saquon Barkley, who has been struggling mightily over the past couple of years. And, there's many fans that say the Giants should just move on from him, if you're being honest here. I thought so too, but at the same time, he's gone through a lot of injuries. The offensive line has been pretty bad. So in this case, you get protection for Barkley and Jones. And he's young, he's great, and he's going to solidify the right tackle position to go along with the other free agent additions for the Giants. So Evan Neal, the number 5 pick for the Giants. They have number 7 as well. But now we'll go to number 6 for the Carolina Panthers. Case, all you.
All right, so number 5, that's also what I had Evan Neal for the Giants. So once again, a great pickup. I can see that me and you are both on the same wavelength so far. Sorry, I can't talk today. Jeez. Okay, so number 6, Carolina Panthers have the 6th overall pick. This is one of those picks where you see it might be very, very pivotal in this year's draft. I mean, a lot of things can go with the number 6. Number 6, a lot of people had the Panthers taking Malik Willis. I think that it's a possibility. But to be honest with you, I don't see him taking a quarterback. It's one of the top priorities. They scouted 6 quarterbacks, in this year's draft. So it's evident that they want a quarterback. But to be honest with you, if I were the Panthers, I would take Akeem Ikwanu, who's a tackle from NC State. He is a really, really good run blocker. Probably the best lineman at blocking the run. And to be honest with you, with him and Christian McCaffrey, if he can stay healthy, that would be a great pickup, for the run game and really help solidify, one dimension of the Carolina offense. So number 6, Carolina. Yeah, you could take Malik Willis, but in this case, I'm going to take the offensive tackle from North Carolina State. And just real quick before we go on to the number 7 pick, I know that you're going to say someone that's not Sam Howell. We joke about it a lot, but in all seriousness, I personally believe that maybe he won't go at 7, but I truly believe that the Giants will pick up Sam Howell because, let me tell you why. Number 7, right? I don't see Sam Howell necessarily going number 7, but I think that later in the draft, the Giants, they sent 4 scouts to, look at Sam Howell. And so when you send 4 scouts, to check him out, I mean, that's quite interesting to say the least. So, but with that being said, who is your number 7 pick here for the Giants?
It's tough because honestly, if Ahmad Gardner fell, I feel like the Giants would, kind of try to get him to kind of solidify that corner position with a new defensive scheme for the Giants. A lot of man-on-man coverage. And with James Bradbury likely on his way out, they need some corners. And I would love to have Gardner. I would love to have Hamilton if he fell as well. But with the players on the board, we just got Evan Neal with number 5. So number 7, I'm going to go with Derek Stingley Jr., the cornerback from LSU. He had the highest coverage grade as a true freshman in 2019. Since then has been a bit mediocre. But at the same time, he's 6'1", which is good. a good height for a corner. He's 20 years old. He only so far in his career, I believe, only allowed a 41.1 completion percentage, which is not as good as Sauce Gardner, but at the same time, it's pretty solid as well. And the Giants need help in the secondary because we have Bradbury, we have Adoree Jackson, and then not much else. So Stingley at number 7, the Giants acquire him. I do have a question for you, Case. At number 6, I feel like the Panthers are in a tough situation. I get they got offensive line, they got Iki Mekonwu. Could you, because we're not going to do trades, just to make things easier for this mock draft, but could you see them possibly trading back? Because I mean, they don't pick again until like the 2nd or 3rd round, I think. And actually, no, they don't pick again until the 3rd or 4th round because of, I guess they traded picks for Sam Darnold. So,
right.
Could you see them trading back to possibly get Malik Willis, or do you see them staying put and acquiring Ikonu and just ride it out with Sam Darnold?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's possible. If I were the Carolina Panthers personally, I know we talked about getting an offensive lineman, but if quarterback is your biggest need right now, then by all means, I would use all of my ability to go and trade for Malik Willis. So I mean, it's possible, but if I were the Panthers, I would just stay put here and draft the offensive tackle.
All right, sounds good. All right, number 8 to the Falcons. Case, it's all you.
Number 8, Atlanta will draft edge rusher George Karlaftis from Purdue. Great player. People said that he's arguably, one of, if not the best defensive lineman here in this draft. The Falcons also need defensive line, cornerback, and quarterback. I don't see him drafting a quarterback because you have Marcus Mariota. That would have been different, before free agency. Maybe they drafted a quarterback. But now that Marcus Mariota's there, I don't see him taking one. Defensive line and cornerback. No. If you're the Falcons, you're going to want, a pass rusher to compete if you're in that division. Who remind me again, who's in the Falcons division?
We have the Saints, the Bucks, and the Panthers.
So yeah, get at Tom Brady, get at whoever the Saints get, and get at whoever the Panthers get. So just a bunch of nobodies. So I think that if you were to take a defensive lineman, you could really, explode off of that opportunity for your team. Because if you can get out a rookie quarterback or whatever, and get in his mind, that would be exponential for your team. And so that's who I think that the Falcons will get, George Karlaftis from Purdue. So with that being said, number 9, Nathan, take it over. Who do the Seattle Seahawks take at number 9?
All right, number 9, we go with Malik Willis, the quarterback from the University of Liberty. Look, the Seahawks, let's face it, Russell Wilson's gone. Are you really going to roll with Drew Lock? No. Malik Willis, you're going to develop him. Look, this guy is something different. I get it. Sam Howell's on the board. Kenny Pickett's on the board. But Malik Willis has immense talent that I really, really believe Seattle needs. He's a playmaker. He can run. He can throw. He had the second highest big time throw rate apparently that we've ever seen at 11.0%. If that makes sense, if not, it's okay. He had 12 plus broken tackles in 4 of the 13 games in 2021, which shows that he's very elusive when he scrambles. So. Look, man, Seattle needs a quarterback, and they have draft picks. They're fine. They're stocked up. So I think with this one, easy decision for me, Malik Willis to the Seattle Seahawks as we go to number 10 and the New York Jets.
Absolutely. To be honest with you, that was my exact pick as well, Malik Willis to the Seahawks. So far, we're hitting stride for stride for every pick here. Number 10, New York Jets. They select wide receiver Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. I personally think that this would be a great pick for the Jets. You could argue that they would take Drake London, but considering the fact that, he had an injury, missed half the season, or was injured, I believe, in week 8 of the college football season. With the top 10 pick, you don't really want to take a risk on someone that's, has an injury. And so Garrett Wilson is mentioned as being one of the shiftiest wide receivers in the draft. Someone that can get separation and really just run away from everybody. So, with that being said, Garrett Wilson will land with the Jets at number 10.
All right, all right. All right, number 11, the Washington Commanders. Now, this is where things get interesting. The Commanders need a quarterback, a guard, a center, and a linebacker. And I'm looking at a case. There's some good quarterbacks still on the board. We have Sam Howell, we have Kenny Pickett still, like we just talked about. But honestly, for me, I really feel like the Commanders are gonna, roll with Sam Howell. I know I get it. Pickett's still on the board. You have Carson Wentz, okay, and Sam Howell, according to Pro Football Focus, his average draft position is 29.6. So choosing him at pick 11 is way early than expected. But Sam Howell, when he has weapons, has shown to be pretty successful. We know this past season he struggled. I was on him for that. He didn't have his running backs like he had the year before with Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, which kind of led to his struggles. But the Commanders, they have McLaurin, they got Antonio Gibson. It kind of makes sense. So for me, at number 11, we'll go with Sam Howell at the quarterback position. They need a quarterback, and they got one for the future if Carson Wentz does not work out.
Right. All right. So for number 12, the Minnesota Vikings end up selecting cornerback out of Washington, Trent McDuffie, with the number 12 overall pick. This is a player that, would be drafted at the exact right spot if you were with the Vikings. He's drafted right along where he's supposed to be. One of the best cornerbacks in the draft, number 11, for whatever reason, I had Washington taking Derek Stingley Jr. So, I mean, that could go either way. But if Derek Stingley Jr. doesn't get drafted, which is I don't really necessarily see happening, maybe Trent McDuffie goes to Washington. Maybe he goes to Minnesota. But, the Minnesota Vikings need help at edge and they need help at cornerback. So at this spot, I think that the best player that fits their need is without a doubt Trent McDuffie. Best player available. I just think it just makes sense for sure.
All right. Sounds good to me. All right. Number 13, we got the Houston Texans. And reminder here, the Texans did select Kyle Hamilton with their number 3 pick to shore up the secondary. Now, number 13. There's one tackle on the board that's still there. I'm so surprised he's still there, but because of the picks that we made, Case, that's why he fell this far. Charles Cross, the tackle from Mississippi State, who the Giants also loved, but this is about the Texans, not the Giants. Cross was a dominant pass protector in 2021. He only gave up 16 pressures on 719 pass blocking snaps this past season. He's 6'5", 310, which is, that boy's big. And he didn't allow a pressure on 66 snaps versus Alabama in 2021, which is good because Bama is always dominant on both offensively and defensively as well. So Charles Cross, the Texans, they want to build around Davis Mills, as we all know, even though we may disagree, Case, on the Houston Texans going with Davis Mills as their starting quarterback for this upcoming season. So if you want to build around him, you might as well get him some protection. And Charles Cross is the first step in doing so. So the Texans, Charles Cross, as we go to number 14 with the Baltimore Ravens.
Number 14, Baltimore Ravens. They will end up selecting defensive lineman Jordan Davis out of Georgia. Huge run stopper. I think this player arguably makes the most sense out of pretty much everyone in this draft class. Because why? Baltimore is going to need help stopping the run. They're going to need help in, stopping Chubb and Harris and Mixon. This player, no one gets by him in the middle. And so I think that when you get him on your team and have him in that division against those guys, Chubb, Harris, and Mixon, I think that he's going to cause a lot of problems, for the Browns, Steelers, and Bengals. Yeah, you could argue that he was drafted a little bit early, but to be honest with you, like I said, with the division and the running backs that you have to go up against, I would just take the greatest run stopper in this draft class, and that's by far Jordan Davis at number 14.
Okay. All right. Number 15 now, the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. They need help at linebacker. They need help at DB. The first step to doing that, address the linebacker position. And I'm going to go with Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from the University of Utah. Go Utes, 6'3", 235. He can blitz. He can cover tight ends. He can do it all. And, he played in the Pac-12, had a pick 6 in the Pac-12 championship game against the University of Oregon. Was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school, but he's made a name for himself. And I really feel like the Eagles will love a player like this to cover the tight ends in the NFC East, and also, the teams on their schedule. When you have to deal with guys like Dalton Schultz and Logan Thomas and whoever the Giants draft that tight end, Devin Lloyd will be able to cover those guys with ease. So I'm going to go with Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Utah. So we go to number 16, and then New Orleans Saints, who need help at quarterback, wide receiver, and tackle. Case.
Absolutely. Okay, so number 15, once again, right on the money with Devin Lloyd, linebacker to the Eagles. I would love that pick, so hopefully that happens. But number 16 is a steal of the draft for me for the Saints. Right before this pick for the Saints, I had the Saints taking quarterback. Can't find it now. Okay, no, never mind. Yeah, so number 16, I apologize. Number 16, the Saints will end up taking tackle Charles Cross from Mississippi State. That's who I had. They need a quarterback, wide receiver, and they need a tackle. So you could say that they take Desmond Ridder. That's who I had, in my opinion, going later in the first round. But in this case, if Charles Cross is still there, it'll be the steal of the draft, to be honest with you. Saints need help. Charles Cross is a great pass blocker. So I think that if he's available, definitely jump at the opportunity and take him, because whoever you draft at quarterback, whoever you sign, or pretty much any quarterback that is in the pocket, if he's not a scrambling quarterback, you're going to need to give him as much time as you possibly can. And so I think that with the 16th pick, Charles Cross would be the biggest steal in terms of the offensive lineman group in this draft.
If you're the Saints, correct? If Cross is off the board.
Say that again. You were muted for a sec.
Oh, sorry. So I was gonna say, if Cross was off the board, Desmond Ridder will be the number 1 choice for the Saints, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. All right. So as we go to number 17 with the almost called him San Diego, the LA Chargers, wide receiver, tackle, and corner are their biggest needs in this draft. Pretty much the top corners are off the board as I'm looking down the list here. But there's one guy that stands out here, and that's my cat decides to meow in the background. I'm going to go with Andrew Booth Jr., the cornerback from the Clemson Tigers. He's young, from Clemson, some top talent in the ACC, which is something pretty rare. So I'm going to go with Andrew Booth Jr. for the Chargers to kind of beef up their secondary. So go to number 18 case for the Eagles.
Number 18. I'm going to go with wide receiver Jameson Williams out of Alabama. This Eagle offense is starting to turn into Crimson Tide, with Devontae Smith and Jameson Williams now on the wide receiver core. I think that, this Eagles offense could do a lot of things for Philadelphia. And so with that being said, Nathan, I'm not sure if you can still hear me, but if you can, I'll, look forward to seeing, as an Eagles fan myself, Jalen Hurts, Jameson Williams, and Devontae Smith leading the charge for the Philadelphia Eagles. So with that being said, we will wait until Nathan is ready to – oh, Nathan's back. And yeah, man, I'm not sure if you heard what I said, but basically I said that I would take wide receiver Jameson Williams out of Alabama. You'd have Devontae Smith, Jameson Williams, Jalen Hurts, pretty much the entire Alabama offense right now. So that would be exciting to see if that happens. But with that being said, number 19, New Orleans Saints, who do they pick?
I will say this for the Eagles, it doesn't get better than that, right? Bama with Hurts, Bama with Devontae, and then Bama with the Jameson Williams. So I feel like the Eagles do have the patience to wait on Williams. That'd be great. So if we go to number 19, and there's a guy on the board that's still there. I love it. Drake London, the big dude from USC. I could have seen, Stephen go to Philadelphia, kind of give some height at the receiver position because they kind of lack that. But hey, for the Saints, you kind of get a Michael Thomas type of clone of the Drake London, 6'5", 210. He did get hurt, I think it was a broken ankle, but he had 88 catches and 1,000+ yards up to that point before his injury for USC. And the quarterback position at USC was a bit of question mark, but London made it work. And I really feel like the Saints could use this type of guy because Michael Thomas we don't know the situation going on over there. And whoever the quarterback is going to be, but we still don't know. Is it going to be Jameis Winston? Is it going to be someone else in the draft that they choose later on? We're going to see. But whoever the quarterback is, they will have some quality receivers to throw to, whether it's Michael Thomas or it's Drake London, or if it's both of them. We'll see. So number 19, the Saints select Drake London. As we go to number 20, and the Pittsburgh Steelers case.
Man, I've been waiting for this all day. I'm actually really excited for this. Our good friend Ronnie is a Steeler fan, and they need a quarterback. And who else to draft? If you're Pittsburgh, other than the Pittsburgh quarterback himself, Kenny Pickett. Pickett play that Pitt. So it makes sense for him to play literally on his home field. That would be awesome. So yeah, man. I mean, you need a tackle, you need a quarterback, but if Kenny Pickett is still on the board, you got to take him. You have to take him if you're the Steelers. In Mitch we trust will probably not last too long. If you're a Steeler fan, Mitch Trubisky, although he is the GOAT, probably won't be in Pittsburgh as a starting quarterback for very long. But with that being said, number 21, the New England Patriots. Who do they pick?
Trayvon Walker, the edge from the University of Georgia. Look, this guy was projected to be a top 5, top 10 pick in some mock drafts, but look, he's not a Kayvon Thibodeau. He's not Aiden Hutchinson, but he is pretty talented. He's 6'5", 275. He's still trying to figure out how to rush the passer. That's a bit of concern. But the Patriots, you know them. When they get players, they develop them. They teach them the Patriot way, and they have success. And Trayvon Walker is the type of guy that Bill Belichick will love, in my opinion. So I'm going to go Trayvon Walker, the edge rusher from Georgia, goes to New England and Mr. Bill Belichick himself. As we go to number 22, the Green Bay Packers. Case, you're on the clock.
Yeah, absolutely. So I also had the Patriots taking Trayvon Walker. Great pick at the defensive side of the ball. Number 22, Green Bay. They end up taking Chris Olave from Ohio State. I think that the Packers need to replace Devontae Adams. I'm not saying that Olave is going to be the next Devontae Adams, but he's a great receiver for Ohio State. So if he can come in and do exactly what he did at Ohio State for the Packers, that would be great. Packers didn't even have a lot of receivers anyways. They had Devontae Adams, and that was it. So now they need Chris Olave. They need all the help that they can get. Randall Cobb, veteran, absolute GOAT. But, he's getting old now. He needs some help. Chris Olave at Ohio State would make sense here at 22 for the Green Bay Packers. Who is 23 with Arizona?
This sets up perfectly for Arizona because they need a guard, they need a center, and there's a top center on the board, Tyler Linderbaum, the center from the University of Iowa. Go Hawkeyes. Almost said Hawks, but Hawkeyes. 6'3", 290, almost 22 years of age. He's the best center in the draft, and let's just keep it short. He was the highest graded center in 2020 and 2021, best center in the draft. And you want to short up that offensive line for Mr. Kyler Murray himself? This is the way to go. So Tyler Linderbaum is the pick for the Cardinals at number 23. Number 24, Case, the Dallas Cowboys are on the board.
Number 24, Dallas will end up taking a tackle by the name of Bernard Ryman. Okay. He went to Central Michigan. So, with that being said, the Chippewas will have one of their very own in an offensive tackle going number 24 to the Dallas Cowboys. They would, I think that the Cowboys would need help at offensive line. Trying to protect Dak Prescott would be one of their major needs, considering the fact that Dak Prescott is a franchise quarterback for them now. Overrated, but still a franchise quarterback. Nonetheless, I think that Ryman finds a great place, a great fit with Dallas at number 24. Who is number 25 on your list?
All right, so the Bills, wide receiver, defensive lineman are the two main needs right now. But shout out to Stephon Diggs, by the way, signed a big contract extension to be with the Bills for, I think, the next 3 or 4 seasons. So, with that being said, receiver could be, pushed towards the second round probably, which means the Lions will select Devontae Wyatt, the defensive lineman from the University of Georgia, 6'3", 315. Very, very explosive. He showed out in the Senior Bowl and made a name for himself. So, that being said, the 4-star recruit coming from high school goes to the Buffalo Bills, and hopefully they don't choke in overtime if they make the playoffs. Who's going to number 26, the Tennessee Titans. Case, who will they choose?
Number 26, Tennessee selects edge rusher Jermaine Johnson from Florida State. I think he's a great player. A lot of people said that he would go earlier, but if they can take him at 26, it would be an absolute steal. I believe Pro Football Focus ranked him at 26, so they don't think it's a steal very much. But personally, in my eyes, he's a great player. Florida State, once again producing another good talent. I think that the Tennessee Titans could use the edge rusher right about now, because they have to compete with Trevor Lawrence, who's nobody, Matt Ryan, way too old, and who else? Texans. So whoever they pick. So literally, once again, an edge rusher going up against a bunch of nobody quarterbacks in their division. So with that being said, it just makes sense. It just makes sense that the Tennessee Titans get a edge rusher. Who is number 27 for your?
All right. Right, for the Tampa Bay Bucks, they need some guards to protect their old quarterback and Tom Brady, but he continues, I should say, to defy father time. So I'm gonna go with Zion Johnson, the guard from the Boston College Eagles, 6'3", 316, 22 years of age. He used to play for Davidson, who apparently had a football team, I guess, but he's been playing in the last 3 years for Boston College. Only allowed 6 pressures this past season. So I'm gonna go with him. He can also play tackle. He played 1 game this past season at tackle, which shows he can, he's versatile. So Zion Johnson goes to the Bucks, who need some offensive line help. With I think they lost a few guys this past offseason. So number 28, the Packers. Who should they get? I should say.
So number 28, Packers, with their second pick in the first round. They get a tackle, Trevor Penning. From Northern Iowa. So it may be a Division II school, I guess you could say, FCS, I believe, or whatever you call it. So Packers need wide receiver, O-line. Luckily, they only have 2 positions that they have to worry about. You're not like the Texans, where you literally need everyone. But so now, with the Packers needing a offensive lineman and a wide receiver, you got Chris Olave. Now it's time to finish it off with a diamond in the rough, Trevor Penning. Great blocker. I think that he could, serve well under Aaron Rodgers and help block for Aaron Jones. So hopefully he gets selected here in the first round. But props to him, man. Great college career at Northern Iowa for sure.
Okay. All right. So this is a fun one. The Kansas City Chiefs, now number 29 in this year's draft, and they lost Tyreek Hill, who they traded away to Miami. So they need some wide receiver help, right? Are you really going to trust the TikTok man himself and Juju Smith-Schuster and company? No, you're not, right? So there's some talented receivers still left on the board. I'm going to go with Treylon Burks, and he's like Tyreek Hill, but bigger. He's not as fast as him, but he's 6'3", 225. His speed is pretty good. The 4-star recruit coming from high school is a vertical weapon, which should help Patrick Mahomes and company. He had 5 catches for 163 yards. 85-yard touchdown was included in the win against Texas A&M in 2021, and also had 9 catches for 109 yards against Auburn, 4 broken tackles, and 2 touchdowns as well. So Treylon Burks goes to the Chiefs at number 29, and they will finally have some help there at the receiver position. And they also have pick number 30, which is surprising. Case, so who did the Chiefs get at number 30?
Number 30, the pick right after that will be, surprisingly, another Clemson product, Andrew Booth Jr. Will help the Chiefs out at corner. Yeah, he had a little bit of a struggle near the second half of the season, but I think that, he would be, I think that he's a first-round talent, so I think that he'll sneak in late in the first round. And, Chiefs, they've been great with their draft picks so far, so I think they'll hit a home run once again, get a steal in Andrew Booth Jr.
Gotcha. If Booth was off the board, because I had him off the board at 17 to the Chargers. I'm not sure if you heard that because the cat was meowing in the background. So if Booth was off the board, Case, do you have an alternate pick for the Chiefs at number 30?
Well, if Booth was off the board and Burks wasn't there, because once again that was also my pick for wide receiver. I would take a person from, I believe it's Western Michigan. I forgot his name. Something Sky.
Sky Moore.
Sky Moore. Yeah. So I would take him because he's the next best wide receiver. I think they really need help out with the wide receiver position. So if those 2 guys aren't available, definitely take Sky Moore for sure.
So 2 wide receivers for the Chiefs. Not bad if you're Patrick Mahomes and company. Number 31, the Bengals. Well, let's be honest. They need help on the offensive line. And to protect Mr. Joe Burrow himself, Most of the good offensive linemen are off the board. But I'm looking at my chart here, looking at the offensive linemen here. Trying to look. Let's see, who would they choose? Um, you know what? I'm gonna take a little bit of a reach here. I'm gonna go with Kenyon Green, the guard from Texas A&M. He's 6'4", 325, and he can move. That's good. When you can move, for a big man at 325, that's good. And he's also versatile. He can play right guard, left guard, and tackle. He did that this past season for the Aggies. So the five-star recruit from high school, Kenyon Green, goes to the almost like Kansas City Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals at number 31. Well, last but not least, case number 32. Who would the Detroit Lions get at this pick?
Number 32. Shout out to the Lions. You get a quarterback at the end of the first round. I think that this next player will possibly compete for the starting job. Quarterback Carson Strong out of Nevada. Yeah, Carson Strong. So I think that would be a good pick for the Lions. He could be a steal. A lot of people had him, fallen later, but I think that he could be the last pick of the first round. I don't think it's going to be another case with Jordan Love where you're drafted and not used at all. So I think that he could come in and make an immediate impact if Jared Goff does not perform as well as I thought he would. So I'm extremely excited to see what happens there. But yeah, I think that concludes our round 1 of our NFL draft. So probably do this again, for round 2, round 3, whatever, whatnot. But with that being said, I mean, that's a great first round in my eyes for sure.
Wait, so we're gonna forget about Matt Corral?
Matt Corral? No. So in my draft,
oh, okay.
I had Matt Corral going to. Where is Matt Corral? Oh, wait, let me find it again. I mean, Houston could take him if they wanted to. Let's see. Oh yeah, so Matt Corral was number 13 on my board. Houston drafts Matt Corral, possibly to steal the draft for sure.
Okay, all right. Well, that's our first round pick for you. Me and Casey, we had a little bit of some differences in our drafts, but our drafts were pretty much the same. Hutchinson number 1, Thibodeau number 2, Hamilton number 3, Gardner number 4, and number 5, the Giants select Evan Neal, and the rest is it. So that's our first round, and we likely will go to the second round next week. And look, the draft's, like I said, almost less than a month away. So we're excited to see if our picks are correct. We'll probably keep track of them when the draft happens, but a very fun first round for all teams who definitely address their needs in the first round, in our opinion, if we're being honest. So now, college basketball just ended. Shout out to the Kansas Jayhawks coming back down from 15 at halftime, and they won the national championship against the Tar Heels. But hey, look, basketball doesn't stop. We know that Coach K's season's done, but there's other teams out there who just need to start recruiting players. And there's 100 players on ESPN's board that we're going to take a look at here right now, Case, who are going to their respective colleges. So the question I want to ask you, Case, is there any players on the top 100 that kind of stand out to you for college basketball, and how will they help their respective teams?
Yeah, so I mean, as you know, college basketball isn't technically our favorite sport, or basketball isn't our favorite sport, but every time March comes around, every single year, we're always involved in that. So with that being said, just a quick glance here. There are currently 23 5-star recruits. And I believe, let me see, 1, 2, 3. 3 out of the 23 5-star recruits are going to Duke. So Duke, looks like they're still recruiting well with Coach K. As we were talking, we have a little list here. Duke has 5 players in the top 100. Next is Arkansas, tied with Duke with 5. For whatever reason, Arkansas is becoming a basketball powerhouse now. Arkansas and Duke both have 5 top 100 players. Then they have Kansas and Alabama in second place with 4 top 100 players. Sorry. So yeah, Kansas, Alabama. I don't know why, but the SEC is looking like it's becoming part of a basketball conferences, basketball school as well. So if you're Kansas and you're drafting 4 of the top 100 players after national championship, that looks really, really, really good. If you're Kansas, next you have a few schools here: UCLA, Texas, and USC are all schools with 3 players inside the top 100 that are going to UCLA. Up next is Baylor, Houston, Kentucky, Oregon, and Notre Dame and Indiana all have 2 top 100 players. And finally, we have BYU in last place with 1 top 100 player. But there's other schools as well. That's just as far as I got. I'm about halfway done with the list so far. Syracuse, according to some people, they also had 2 top 100 players committing to Syracuse, but on this list it just shows 1. We actually had 3 if you count Dior Johnson, who was a player that committed to Syracuse, said, "I'm all in, Syracuse, bleed orange, baby, never leave. Syracuse loved them so much," only to then decommit and commit to Oregon. Why? Why would you say that you love Syracuse so much and then decommit? It's interesting for sure. But we'll see what happens. Syracuse, as you know, I am a Syracuse fan. Talked about it a little bit every single time we play. But, Syracuse got Chris Bunch. They got Mintz, I believe his name is, on the top 100, who is currently ranked number 35, Judah Mintz from Oak Hill Academy. Oak Hill is producing a lot of players from Oak Hill. So Mello went there, for example, probably their most famous athlete. But yeah, man, the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about today was, why is it that, all these blue blood colleges like Duke, for example, Kentucky, North Carolina, they recruit so many 5-star prospects every single year, and none of the schools I mentioned have won a championship in the past 6 or 7 years. I can't really. I think Duke won. Within 7 years. But other than that, I mean, it's not looking too good for. I don't know why. Kentucky, for example, they have the same amount of championships as Syracuse, and Syracuse is they are a very famous basketball school. I think that we talked with our good friend Mateo. He said that Syracuse was top 5 in terms of best college basketball programs of the decade. Which makes sense, that's fair to say. But, I mean, they just are absolute trash, especially this year. I have no idea why they're so bad. Probably because our coach is literally 105, and he's still running the 2-3 zone, saying that, we can't stop the outside people from scoring. But, I mean, yeah, they score threes like it's raining threes. So, with that being said, of these schools, Duke, UCLA, Baylor, Arkansas, Texas, Kansas, Houston, Kentucky, Alabama, Oregon, Notre Dame, Indiana, BYU, and USC, which school jumps out to you the most in terms of a school that you didn't really see as a basketball school?
I mean, Arkansas, definitely you mentioned Arkansas. I guess they're kind of building something there, which is great. That's one school. Another one, I think for me, the fact that Syracuse got a recruit and he was so happy to be there, yet he ended up leaving you guys for the University of Oregon. That's pretty damn. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. That sucks. But look, Arkansas definitely stands out, like you mentioned. They have 2-3 players in the top 100, which is great. I do want to answer your question though. You asked about the Blue Bloods, and I get it, man. Duke hasn't won anything in a short while, I should say. Kentucky the same way. It's just the name case, it's Duke. It's a big name, and they have great coaches. I know Coach K is not going to be there no more, but to have yourself be part of a school like Duke or Kentucky or UCLA, it's a big name school, and you can make a name for yourself there. I know you can make a name for yourself in anywhere, but to do it in on a school that gets national recognition every single year, it's no wonder why Derek Lively, the number 1 recruit, goes to Duke, or it's Derek Whitehead or Kyle Flipowski. These guys, they want to show off to the world how good they are. And I do this one player that stands out, Amari Bailey, who goes to UCLA, and that's great because Johnny Juzang is going to be out to the NBA draft. Same thing with Tiger Campbell, who was a great point guard for the Bruins as well. Amari Bailey will step in and kind of help them stop the bleeding from losing those two stars. So I think with the UCLA, they had a good recruiting class led by Bailey, which is great. Duke did their thing as well. Kentucky with Livingston and Wallace. I'm looking at the list here as well. There's teams. North Carolina had some players. Syracuse has Judah Mintz. Ohio State, I guess they got a couple of recruits in the top 100 as well. Looking at UCF, that's another one that stands out as well. George Mason, Justin Fernandez, the 74th best player in this top 100, went to IMG Academy, and this has to go to George Mason. Maybe he sees something there. I don't know.
Maybe.
But what's that George Mason?
George and Mason. I have no idea. I have no. That was a dad joke, but I honestly. I know that they've had decent years at basketball. I know they're okay. But just now that I think of it, just going back to what we talked about a little bit earlier, what is it with Syracuse and their bad lucks with top tier 5-star athletes? Dior Johnson committed to Syracuse, said, "I bleed orange," only to then prove he does not in fact bleed orange. Decommitted, went to Oregon. Who else? Oh, what about Darius Baisley? Freaking committed to Syracuse. He's like the 13th overall. He literally was ranked, I think, the 13th best high school player in the country. Committed to Syracuse, and then LeBron called him up and said, "Hey, you can make money if you go to the G League." So, okay, decommitted from Syracuse. Syracuse missed the NCAA tournament, right? He goes to the G League, goes to the Thunder. Is he good? I don't watch the NBA very much.
He's a solid young player. Yeah, it's the Thunder, man. They're rebuilding, so
yeah.
He's solid.
And then let's see, just real quick here, Syracuse in terms of their basketball recruiting, and finally before that, those two players, Darius Baisley, Dior Johnson, they would have been, if either of them committed, they would have been the best player or best recruit that Syracuse has had since who else? The guy that won a national championship for us in 2003. You know his name? What is it?
Carmelo Anthony.
And so if we can, I don't see us getting another top tier recruit. It's been super long. So let's look at Syracuse basketball recruits. 247. 247. If you scroll down, okay. So I'm gonna give you a list of players, and I want you to tell me if they were good or not in the NBA. Okay.
Sounds good.
So according to 247. This guy, let's see, all the way down. Okay, so starting with the 4-star athletes, Marek Dolezaj. You know who that is? He's playing he's playing in Italy or something. Quincy Guerrier. He transferred to Oregon. You know who that is? No. Okay. Trevor Cooney. He was actually really good. He was good with Syracuse. He's playing in Italy or Europe now. Justin Taylor, who's 4-star now, so that's good. Brandon Trish, you know who that is? No. Okay, he's playing in Europe. Chris Bunch, 4-star committed this year. BJ Johnson, you know who that is? No. Okay. Brycene Goodine. Bryce Goodine? No. Frank Howard. No. Kadari Richmond? No. CJ Fair.
Nope.
No, he played in Europe, so he's okay. Louis McCroskey, class of 2003. You know who that is? No idea. Okay, Tyler Lydon, absolute bust. Got drafted by the Nuggets. Remember that? And then got injured.
Rings a bell, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Teron Thompson, class of 2016. No. Okay. Deshaun Wright, 2004. Chris Joseph.
No.
Rick Jackson, class 2007.
No.
No. Matthew Moyer.
Rings a
No,
bell,
rings the
but
bell.
sort
Okay.
of. Yeah.
I think he transferred. Judah Mintz, who's obviously this year's class, 97 rating. So he's the 53rd best player in the country. Scoop Hardeen. Do you know who Scoop Hardeen is? Do you know who Fab Melo is? Remember Fab Melo, Celtics?
Oh
He passed
yeah.
away, unfortunately. Jalen Carey. You know who Jalen Carey is? All right. Mookie Jones. No. Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant.
Hey, Pistons.
We have one good player right here. Josh Wright.
No.
No. Caleb Joseph.
Caleb Joseph.
No.
No.
Terrence Roberts.
No.
Okay. Mike Jones.
No.
No. Tyler Roberson. No. Eric Devendorf. He's playing in Europe right now. He's actually one of our most famous players of the past, since 2000. He was class 2005, played at Syracuse all 4 years, was an absolute trash talker that backed up what he said on the court. He was pretty good. He has his own podcast now, plays in Europe, so that's cool. Tyus Battle.
Oh yeah, I heard of him. I heard of him.
Whatever happened to him? Is he good? Like what?
I don't know. I think he's at the league now.
Yeah, he left Syracuse to get drafted in like the second round, I think, or first round, only to then get benched and go to the G League. So it's like I don't know. Yeah.
He's in Israel now, apparently.
He's in Israel. Oh my God. Okay, Malachi Richardson. We all know Malachi Richardson.
Hey, yeah.
But I think he's playing in Germany, I believe. Benny Williams, who is a player that we recruited, I believe, class of 2021. So yeah, we recruited him last year. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So he's good. Demetrius Nichols. You know who that is? Okay. Michael Carter Williams.
Yeah.
So we have
MCW.
He's people say that he was a bust. He won Rookie of the Year and then became a rotational player. But now, for whatever reason, with the Magic, he's starting to come back and become a good rotational player. So props to him. So we have MCW. We have Jeremy Grant. Who else we got? Daryl Watkins.
Rings a bell, but that's pretty much it.
Okay. Here's a player that played for the Lakers. Tyler Ennis.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to him? Was he good? No. Did he get injured?
No, he just
just
wasn't good, my guy.
Wow. Okay, so Tyler Ennis was there. Oh, Dion Waiters.
Hey, Dion, the man himself.
Yeah. Okay. So Dion Waiters, is he? How close is he to being a Hall of Famer? Like, is he good?
Nah, he was average. He's a good. Yeah.
What about Chris McCullough? No. Okay. Rakeem Christmas, Michael Jordan's son-in-law. Rakeem Christmas is so he married Michael Jordan's daughter, for whatever reason. I guess he's on here. DeJuan Coleman. Do you know who that is? His dad was Derek Coleman.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, so DeJuan Coleman, fun fact about his dad, Derek Coleman. Derek Coleman was one of only 3 players to dunk on Shaq. Only one of 3 players. It was MJ, Derek Coleman, and some other person. But so that's a pretty exclusive list. Oh, and of course, we have the guy infamous for being drafted before Steph Curry. You know who that is?
Shoot. No, who is it? I forgot.
Johnny Flynn.
Oh God, no.
Of all people. But to be fair, his rookie season, I think he was good with the Timberwolves until he got injured, and then of course, everything just kind of pans out. He was pretty good at ping pong. I don't know why, but he said he was really good at ping pong. So maybe he's doing that now. I don't know. Of course, Fab Melo. Paul Harris. Do you know who Paul Harris is? Paul Harris. Okay. Dante Green. No. Okay, now we're getting into the top 5 all time. This is the
okay.
I mean, according to the recruiting, Andre Blatch.
Okay, heard of him.
You heard of him? Was he good?
Heard of him. I think he's alright.
So he was ranked the 5th in the nation, number 1 in the state, number 2 in his position. I think he committed to Syracuse, but then went to the NBA. I don't think he played like at all with us. I think he kind of did the thing with Darius Baisley did. But yeah, man, that's what we have right now. So in terms of players that went to Syracuse that were ranked on 247 with ESPN College Basketball Recruiting, we have Jeremy Grant, Dion Waiters, Michael Carter-Williams. Who else? That's that's pretty much it in terms of the good players that went to Syracuse. But with that being said, do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about today?
What do Darius Baisley, Dior Johnson, and Kamari Lands have in common?
Who's Kamari Lands?
Exactly. They all decommitted from Syracuse. Kamari Lands, 4-star recruit, was 22nd best player in the country last year. Committed to Syracuse on April 6, 2021. And then after that said, no. I'd like to thank Coach Boeheim, Coach Mack, and Syracuse for everything they've done. And with that being said, I will be reopening my recruitment. This was back in August 21st, 2021. So, yes, this man played at prolific prep, apparently. And this article says his decision is a, quote, major blow to Syracuse. He joins Oklahoma City Thunder star Darius Baisley and 5-star guard Dior Johnson as the most recent players to decommit Syracuse. So,
what was his name?
Kamari Lands.
Where's he playing now?
It is TBD apparently.
Kamari Lands. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, I think I remember this guy. Yeah, man, that's not too good. So what you're saying is that he might. Oh, wait, hold on. Apparently, it says he's going to Louisville.
Yep, Louisville. Chris Mack.
Chris Mack.
Yep.
Who's Chris Mack?
The coach.
Oh,
Louisville.
God,
Yeah.
No idea. No, yeah, man. Syracuse has just had bad luck with players decommitting and committing and stuff. So. Not looking too good, that is.
No, sir. But hey, at least Duke's gonna do good. That's good. It's always good. Duke and how about them? How about them Bruins, baby? Amari Bailey. But yep. As we're running, close to time here, we had a fun show today. Talked about the NFL mock draft. Had our first annual mock draft. Hope to do this more in the future as well. We didn't have a lot of arguments when it came to those picks, which is great. We talked about the top 100 players in college basketball in terms of the rankings for players entering into college. Derek Lively at number 1, Amari Bailey number 2. We know Duke had 3 players in the top 5 of the top 100, so they're going to be good next season, despite not having Coach K. But in the end, congrats to the University of Kansas for the winning the national championship, and we're looking forward to next college basketball season, and we'll see who is the next St. Peter's. Hey, Doug Edder, maybe he goes to Syracuse, right, Case? Who knows, right?
Maybe, man. Probably not, though. I mean, literally, it's like pulling a needle out of the haystack. So we'll see. We'll see for sure what happens.
All right. Well, catch us next week, guys. We'll be talking more NFL as the news comes in. And we're getting close to the draft, which is great. The NBA playoffs should be, I think it's starting next week. So we'll dive into that as well. The Lakers aren't going to be in it. But, hey, there's the Golden State Warriors. That's good, right? We're from California. We have them. We have the Clippers. Likely going to – they're going to make the play-in tournament. The Sacramento Kings are bad. They're not going to make it. The Lakers, the Suns. Yeah, I forgot the Phoenix Suns. They're best team in the West, so – we'll dive into all that stuff next week. Also, check out my new podcast, Big Blue Daily, hosted by yours truly. We're talking Giants football every single day. First episode should be coming out on Friday on all platforms, so check that out as well. Hope they bring Casey on to get his insight on my Giants, even though he thinks that Daniel Jones is not the answer. Despite the fact that I try to warn him so many times, he doesn't believe he's the answer, so. Just watch out, Casey. Daniel Jones gonna have a breakout season this season. Just wait.
Imagine if he goes to Washington and absolutely just craps all over the Giants for the rest of the season.
Oh, that'd be terrible, man. I ain't going. I'd rather keep him. Just keep him. Tyrod Taylor's the backup, so we'll leave it at that. But check it out, Big Blue Daily, available on all platforms. Coming out this Friday. The first episode will be out. But as always, I'm Nate. That's Case. Follow us on social media. It's all in the description. You'll see it. But if you don't,